Bangladesh. We went there to study the attitudes of any generation's attitudes to children's and young people's lives, such as, what is your view of education? Can you describe your experience of healthcare? What does it mean to be a child or a young person in Bangladesh? What do you think about the future of you and your family? What importance does your family life have? Does your religion play a big role in your family life? What support systems is there for families? What is your view of poverty and wealth? What is a good life for you? What opportunities and difficulties are there for young people in Bangladesh? So you see, we had a lot of questions, and we were open to get answers. During our stay in the country, we got to see both the countryside, where we lived in a village, where we saw the daily life, we ate like they did, and we saw the beautiful nature of the country. But we were also very fortunate to be able to see the main city of Bangladesh, called Dhaka. And in the following clip, you will see Tuhin describe what the difference could be living in the slum or if you were living in a richer area.
And then you buy furniture for cheap. And it becomes densely populated because many has to live close to their working places. So up there an apartment could be 50,000 taka per month. Over here a house of same size or 1/4 of it could be 5,000. And then it means you don't think of a parking lot, a nice fancy locking gate or a gateman saluting you every hour. Probably the saluting guys are coming from this part, living family here. Affordable means, affordable way of being close to your workplace.
Did you say 5,000 taka a month?
Yeah, for a small place.
For a small house, like kind of small
Two rooms and a washroom and things like that. Which is unimaginable on the other side of the railway. The same size will be 15,000 or 20,000. It's just because it comes with services and furnishing, polish, like that. But out of 16 million living here in the city, very few are living in those nice boxes. It could be like only 20% are living, occupying all the money, and then they're for washing clothes, for cooking food, for cleaning floor, for riding my car. And an average proportion, if it's a big shop, service holder living in a big house, then he has one driver for taking him to the office, one driver for the kids, means 2 cars, and then one guy working in the house, keeping the cars clean, keeping the floors clean. Then one lady for cooking the food, one lady for taking the kids to the school and back. For 4 persons family, it's 5 workers, and none of them are living in that nice part of the apartment. Where do they live? And then our sense of pity awakens. Oh, it's so dirty and it's so, they're living in the garbage and this and that. And they're so busy keeping other parts so clean. So I take this walk on this part just to wake up. It won't be that fancy on that part if this part hadn't been here. This looks so much, messy because, like I said before, they're keeping the other part tidy.
When we stayed in Dhaka, we lived at a hotel near the border of the slums. The area in the hotel was protected from the people in the slums by a gate that was locked during nighttime. When we entered the slums, we could see a big difference in how the streets looked. In the slums, you could see that the streets were covered with litter and garbage. And we will now take a short walk through the area we were.
তোমার মাঝে খুঁজে পাই নিজেকে আমি পুরোটা তোমার মাঝে খুঁজে পাই নিজেকে আমি পুরোটা আমার মাঝে
Said, it's the people in the slums that make it possible for the rich people to have such clean streets. And the people in the slums also work at factories, like garment factories. And we were fortunate enough to be able to visit one. And the supervisor showed us around and told us information about how they worked. And we could see that the standard was quite good. But there was a lot of manual work, not a lot of machines. And that's because the salary is so low, so it's cheaper to have manual work than machines. The supervisor told us that the minimum salary that was recommended was 6,300 taka, and he was proud that they were matching that. You will see a short clip from inside the factory now.
$185,000 taka, which is 18,500 Swedish kroner per month. Some even have 7 servants for 2% you invest for your children's education in this way. Father living in Rangpur or father living in Dinajpur, rich businessman, he will put the money in an apartment like this, thinking when 17-year-old or 18-year-old going for universities, which you can do in Stockholm nowadays, buying an apartment and giving it to your children. Some Bangla people, they are doing it. Of course, it's an unfair distribution of resources, but still, economy here has no limits, really no limits.
So we have seen that it's a country with both poverty and riches. And it is important to think about what riches mean, because we saw a country with a lot of people that cherished family above all. And perhaps the materialistic side wasn't as important, though you could see that there was an increase in wanting to have more things. And one thing you could see is that if you have more money, you would want to build a brick house, for example, because it's safer against the rain. But still, the most common jobs are manual jobs, and that require little education. You could work as a farmer, you could drive a van or a rickshaw, you also could work at a factory, like the garment factory. But you could see there were a lot of dreams of becoming doctors, engineers, and to get a good education. But we were a bit curious about the history, so we wanted to know more about what formed Bangladesh as it is now. So let's hear to him tell us a bit more about the history.
They surrendered, Pakistani military, towards Bangladesh. But 2 days before surrendering, 2 days before we declared as independent, Pakistani militia, together help with from some other Bengalis, corrupt, make a long list of intellectuals, which means doctors, university professors, journalists from Dhaka University, sort of brain of a nation. So they are making a hunting list, calling them from home, taking up on a military car and bringing here, shooting. So this ground, we call it Intellectual Martyrs Monument, which is with an intention to destroy one nation. So very many good filmmakers, journalists, professors and doctors, lawmakers, they were just picked from home, like with really address, Mr. So, and promising to the family he will come by evening, but they never returned. And how many? There is no exact figures about it. What's the?
What's the guess? Are they talking 3,000 or?
1,000. So 2 days before surrendering, they are doing this. And in memory of them, we are making, this was made in 2000, no not 2000. I'm sorry, I'm very bad at this. A broken wall with a window. Inside it has water which resembles tears, and then a black stone for grief. And when this was done, I mean in 43 years back, it was all empty, barren. And so this is like the road behind us, flat protection embankment all around the city. Works as a road too. But even 10 years back, you couldn't see any concrete structure on this part. There was city, still some kilometers left. With time, the amount of people growing, which means you have seen a lot of pipes bringing sands into mainland from the river. So sands coming in, new places built. But before a concrete structure is built, there is always some slum. So the scam starts with, first you fill it with sand, and then some guinea pigs like poor people, garment workers or housemaids, they are living 400 taka per month for a small square, 4 square by 4 square feet room, which she will pay with her garment work money, but no guarantee. 2 weeks later you see your home is wiped off. So the process works here for taking over on these lands. First you fill it up, local muscles, political powers, they start a slum. 2 years later the slum is evicted, and then they are selling it to some real estate companies and making big concrete structures, which is good money. And then people in the city, they need places, which means the slums are going even further. Places with unmanageable living conditions, riches can have life there, but poor, they can. I'm not very fond of the word poor, but it's like people in those conditions. We will go more on this direction, continue on this road, and then we see some tanneries, not really going in there, but you'll see skins lying in, hides, animal hides. We export a lot. And being a Muslim country, we have Qurbani, which is slaughtering animals for festival. Huge industry, but right in the city. 20 years back, it wasn't in the city. The city has expanded. It's still there. The city is growing, not the industry. So, really difficult question when you are asking if it's a residential area or industrial area. We have no such concept. In paper we have, but everyone is building everything everywhere. So every place is an industrial area. And the places we have been walking, you are asking about the road. It's mostly a city embankment for protection from flood. And like I said, 10 years back, on both sides of this embankment, 5 kilometer, no big concrete housings. But with good money and booming of real estate industries, you need more houses. And then it's growing everywhere. more factories
And I guess the tannery industry, that's really nasty chemicals involved in that.
open your car window, you will regret. And earlier from here we could have seen some Pakistani militia. So you go, and which means they have been giving information of Bangla freedom fighters. They have been giving information of he is a good professor, he is a good lawyer, and then making list and involved in killing. And now, almost 40 years later, this government very keen on punishing them, which means putting them into jail or hanging. And their associates is still functioning, which is really terrible. Their associates is still functioning in this country with a political party, and sort of only radical Muslim political party.
Which one?
Jamaat. So, and they are using the name Islam. Being a Muslim country and many farmers, many household villagers, Allah is very important. Down in the coastal area, where flood comes, cyclone comes, Allah is very important. Where it's poverty stricken, no work, mosque is there always. Allah is very important. And then they are using Jamaat, Allah's name and things like that. Just, I mean, in Bangladesh you can buy mob. If some Swedes are interested in buying a political party, I can offer some money, and then you have 5,000 or 500,000 for demonstration. And then they get money from abroad. Involving in a business like this, they are still well organized. They were then, they are still there. And that's why you are suffering from hartal. And yeah, so 14th December is really a black day in our history. Like, you really faceless. Like, Johir Rehan to এখানেই dead body পাওয়া যায়. Some really great filmmaker, individuals, and yeah, it's like if you are asked name 5 great Swedish authors, and next morning no one even knows where their body is. And so this is a place for incident like that.
So in 1971, when they took these 1,000 intellectuals, so the government at that time, they supported the Pakistan militia, or
The government was Pakistan militia that
the
time.
government was Pakistan.
This is one thing I laugh about quite a lot. Only once in the history of world, it was British who left one country in 2 pieces.
Yeah.
So they are dividing Pakistan and India into Pakistan here, and India in there. Have you ever heard of any country like that? And then they are doing it based on religion, killing the most sense of the whole neighborhood, which was Bangalism, more beyond than Hinduism or Muslim. Because in the villages you have been staying. Some have been living with Hindu families, some have been living with Bangla families, Muslim families.
So it was the Pakistan government that did it when
Yeah.
it was Pakistan.
And we are being more fertile, producing more crops, more money, more foods, all exported to East Pakistan that time because they are the ruler. And 71 there was an election. So, and 25th March they are sitting for a locked door meeting. Yes, we are talking now because we are going to hand over the power. But that night the militia is like on the road killing. So yeah, not very nice attitude. Backstabbing, even tying you up.
But the strikes and are they also both have the political party just paid money?
Mostly. There is no core motivation like, yes, I feel for this, so Islam will be helped, so I go stand on the road breaking vehicles. No. Some money is paid, so you join the procession. And then some? I mean, yeah, brainwash, mostly brainwash. So, and it hasn't reached the level of suicide bombing. But in many ways, you are locked in different directions, which is nothing less than suicide bombing. And heavily organized. No other political parties in Bangla has this kind of study works or paperwork. So being part of that militia, not militia, this Muslim radical group, you have to study quite many hours. several syllabuses and curriculums. Fulfill, test, and then you next level, next level. And then when you graduate, they offer you jobs, whether in bank, TV, newspaper, government, non-government.
The positive thing is that majority of the people against this party.
I found a similarity with the Swedish political party there. There is a political party in Sweden nowadays with racism, like immigrant issues, everything. And then an average sensible person will deny it. But there are still many Swedes who are sensible and sweet, good soul, but believing in it. And who are they? Those who don't have time to dig more into it, just buying for soul.
And it's growing.
And it's growing. Doesn't mean that Swedes are going bad, but the propaganda is reaching over you. They are selling one bad thing together with 15 other good things. Go in for the good thing. But here,
It's very easy to believe in their word if you're unhappy with your situation.
yes, and that's why I said in the
There's a lot of unhappy people here.
yeah, in the coastal area, like I said, you need Allah for a lot many reasons. Good to have someone to blame to.
The guys that were left to build Bangladesh in '72, since so many was killed, who were they?
Those who are fighting here.
It's army.
No, not army, ordinary citizens, students, farmers growing, and the new generation, who are they? Mostly students. And mid-level professions, like not really professional. In Bangladesh, you will never say profession, farming is a profession. Farming is a part of your life. So you grow up, you grow rice. About the chore lands, and still in many areas in Bangladesh, you have started learning to walk. Next year, you learn to drag something. And then next year, you learn to lift it on your head. And then your load, being equally heavy like it, then you start selling it. In the villages, there is no place to sell. You increase your capacity and then you enter in your life. No grade 6, no grade 12, oh, you are a graduate now, so no such thing. Have a fit and a strong body, you go to brick field to work. I was saying that to other groups, like the entry level job is brick field and rickshaw. No education needed, just sound body and a functioning eyes. That will do. So, yeah, youngs playing in the field or growing rice. Coming back, they are, and some who learn to read and write, like students. So not every officer was skilled, but many like.
It's such a challenge, isn't it?
It was, and so much chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos means while they have been standing in the cabinets and putting things together, some were still selling, some were still milking out of the country. There have been quite many scams about sugar, about jute, about this and that.
Because it must have been chaos for quite a few years.
I mean, 71 we get freed, and then in 75, the one who led this fight or freedom fight, and whose daughter is in power now, so he was killed along with his whole family in 75. That time Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And then Zia, when he was killed, 78.
No, 80.
80. 5 years later, another sector commander who then became the chair of the whole country, like coming through a military coup. He was a military guy. In 80, in power he was killed. And then taken over by another dictator, another military guy. He is sitting in chair for 9 years in a row. So a dictator sitting on chairs 9 years in a row, banning no student politics. And dictator means really. Also, he has established some good things, some administrative structures. So every time one came for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, did his part, really evicted by someone growing underneath. And then there had been several mass killing inside jails, inside places. I mean, Hasina, who is in power now, her father, mother, everyone, she and her sister both have been abroad for studying of it. So she and her sister, they were left, but the rest member, including their small brother, in the whole house, killed by military. That time,
She was abroad at the time.
yeah. So quite many chaos really in that, and I think it's till days it's quite many chaos in many different parts. And now that time has appeared with more money. So now when you are seeing some problems, you can easily figure there is a big money behind it. It's really a small example. This is minor. When you are going through these roads, you see a lot of sand lifting businesses. But it's said in the law, it's illegal to lift sand from the river. And then it's seen at large, people are doing it. And when they're lifting, funny thing is they're putting it in another place, which is government, which is illegal to fill up too. So two crimes happening, lifting and filling. No one is seeing. And then it goes on for 5 years. Then a 10-story building. Oh, when did it get permission? But someone paid money in the city corporation. Then he gave permission to build it. And now we have to break it. Oh, it's built already, people are living. So police cases and everything. And then some extra money. No newspaper, no one is saying anything. And it's there. 10 years later, oh, some people has blocked the whole canal so the water can't go out. Some demonstration, but just demonstration. And demonstration is done by some NGO too. Get aware, wake up, we need to do, and then go back to sleep, demonstration done. That's how things been happening. I'm talking too much. You should take a walk.
The strongest memory I have of Bangladesh is how the people are, and that the family comes first. You see goats in the background now. To provide security for the family, goats and cows were very important because they secured an amount of income every day. And the same thing was regarding plants and trees. If you have, for example, bamboo in your backyard, if need would arise, you could sell the bamboo. For example, if you were to have an operation, you could sell the bamboo to get the money for it. So family was most important, and that was something that I felt when they were curious about me. They did not ask right away what I was working with. It was more important for them to know about my family, if I was married, if I had children. And when I said I didn't, they seemed concerned, because that was unusual for them. Perhaps they looked a bit sad also. I thought, okay, what's wrong with him? So the family was very important. We were very curious about how young people had it in Bangladesh and what their future dreams were. And we could see that education was one thing that was common to be said by the youth, because they were dreaming about being doctors, engineers, mechanics, and such, nurses. And you could see that, okay, they believed in it. And the education system, we observed different classes, and we could see that it was very disciplined classes, and the classes were more like repeating what the teacher said, and learning what the text said, but it didn't feel that it was much understanding. We observed a few English lessons, for example, and you could see that they could repeat the words, but I think it is quite a bit away until they can communicate freely. But if you watch our translators and resource persons, they spoke very good English. They were at university level. So that proves that the education system is working. But a lot of the resource persons told us that the education system has to evolve and become better, because it's a lot of repeating. So we saw the belief in the education, but we also saw that the family is most important, and a lot of people that cancel their studies due to situations in the family. We also sometimes saw the young girl staying at home, taking care of the family, not going to school. So I'm left with an impression that education is important, and the youth believes in the education. And at the same time, a lot of people were left scarred by the Liberation War in 1971. Imagine if something like that Tuhin told you about, if about 50 to 100 Swedish people would get removed from their families and being executed. The brain power of the country, the ones with most power and education. You can imagine what scars that would leave in Sweden. So I could see a lot of the young people were thinking about this and dreaming about creating a different future. Because Bangladesh has a lot of potential. It isn't poor, it's just that the financial system isn't good. There's a lot of corruption, and the finance resources are being not equally distributed. But it's a very beautiful country. The nature is amazing. So if you have a chance to go there, meet the people, I have one advice: keep an open mind. Don't try to sell them your thoughts and ideas, because they have amazing ideas. And try to be open, listen, and go there. Thank you. Bye. You will now get to follow us to school, where you will see me leading a class in mental training. You will see Yvonne leading English class. And finally, you will see our resource person and translator, Ratul, and also a very good friend. He's going to have a class in Swedish. It was quite amazing to watch him learn Swedish, because he learned grammar quite quickly, and he's very good at languages. So you will see 3 classes.
কি 45 বাজে
I'm looking on the video all the time. I also run. And you can breathe out.
নিঃশ্বাস ছেড়ে দাও
And you can again take a big breath in.
I want to be English teacher. You want to be English teacher? Because I like English. Yeah. Do you want to teach smaller children, or would you like to teach? Small children.
ক্লাস শেষ নাকি এটা ক্লাস শেষ
Yeah. Okay. That is very important.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে
Why do you think it's important?
একটাই ওরা করুক, এর মধ্যেই করুক, এটাই শেষ করুক, এটা শেষ করে তারপরে আরেকটা ক্লাসে না যাই তাহলে আচ্ছা বলতেছি
The future country is very important. Yeah. So yeah, and you want children to be able to talk to foreigners. It's important to communicate.
বাচ্চাদের সাথে ঠিক মতো যোগাযোগ করাটা তোমার কাছে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ কিনা?
Yes. It's very important. Okay. What is your name? My name is Liva.
Daniel,
Thank you so much.
should we go to the another class grade 9 after this? The teacher is saying like you can join to the another class if you want.
অনেক কিছু বলা যাবে। আমি তোমাদের ছোট্ট দুইটা ওয়ার্ড শিখিয়ে দিই। একটা হচ্ছে আমরা যে থ্যাংক ইউ বলি আর একটা হচ্ছে ওয়েলকাম বিহেভিয়ার বলি। ঠিক আছে? আমরা যখন কেউ একজন তুমি একটা কাজ করলে আমি যদি বলি থ্যাংক ইউ তুমি তখন কি বলো? ওয়েলকাম। তো ওরা থ্যাংক ইউটাকে যেভাবে লেখে সেটা হচ্ছে TACK উচ্চারণটা কি হলো?
Tak.
Tak.
Can you say it? Tak.
Tak. তো tak মানে হচ্ছে বলো কি? থ্যাংক ইউ। আচ্ছা তো থ্যাংক ইউ বলার পরে আমরা কি বলি? ওয়েলকাম বলি অথবা কি বলি? নো মেনশন ওয়েলকাম একটা কিছু বলি। কিছু একটা বলি এরকম, ঠিক আছে? তো ওদের ভাষায় তখন আমরা যেটা বলবো সেটা হচ্ছে বর্ষু টু বর্ষু গুড গুড একটু আমরা বলি সেটা হচ্ছে ফর কি উচ্চারণ হলো বলতো? বর্ষু গুড। এখানে আরটা যেটা এটা ওই রকম উচ্চারণ হবে না, একটু উজ্জ্বল থাকবে আর কি। বর্ষু গুড তার মানে এটা হচ্ছে ওয়েলকাম। তার মানে কেউ কিছু বললেই মানে যখন ওরা চলে যাবে তখন তোমরা একসাথে কিন্তু সবাই এইটা উচ্চারণ করবে, ঠিক আছে? তাহলে এটা আমার মানে শেখানোটা একটু হলেও সার্থক হবে। আর এটা হচ্ছে বর্ষু গুড। আমরা তো এই যে ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ। বলো না ওদের বলবা তা আমরা যখন যাবো তখন বলবা তা, ঠিক আছে? আর বলো ঠিক আছে, তাক থ্যাংক ইউ।
Tack!